We are talking Venom. This one is directed by Ruben Fleischer, who did Zombieland, directed Zombieland, and of course stars Tom Holland, Michelle Williams, Riz Ahmed. And this one, obviously, the first movie in kind of their own little Spider-Verse. They've obviously got the Spider-Man that's kind of related to the MCU. There's no real confirmation if this does or doesn't tie into the MCU, to be honest with you. It is a standalone film. And yeah, I've got to say, I think it does work as a standalone film. Now, if you're familiar with the Venom character, as you know from the comics, he's from originated from Secret Wars and the Black Suit Saga. Now, if you've watched the 90s Spider-Man cartoon, this origin story is actually a lot more like that, just sans Spider-Man. But he's if you're someone going to spoil the movie for you, but if you've seen the 90s cartoon show, the origin story is a lot like that, but just doesn't have Spider-Man. It goes directly to Eddie Brock. The story obviously is there's an evil foundation called the Life Foundation, evil kind of like conglomerate, who's run by Riz Ahmed. Eddie Brock, a investigative reporter, kind of gets on their naughty list and ends up losing everything, and ultimately gets infected by the parasite Venom, who then kind of turns out to be a kind of a life form on his own, and they ultimately become the creature known as Venom, who is set up to be an anti-hero. That's all I'm going to say on the plot. What did I like about this movie? I would say the biggest asset to this movie is Tom Hardy himself, who really absolutely embraces this role. And I've got to say, apparently he did a lot of stuff which was kind of just off the cuff and kind of improvised. But I've got to say, he makes the Eddie Brock character so endearing and so kind of quirky that I really think it works. And it's one of this movie's biggest divisive points, I think, is because I've seen there's been a lot of criticism that this movie's, the way Tom Hardy portrays Eddie Brock is just silly. But I've got to say, I thought it was very good. I really enjoyed his performance, and yeah, it's a little bit wacky at times, but apparently it was kind of inspired by Woody Allen and kind of like all sorts of things. And I gotta say, I thought it was great. I also like the rest of the cast here as well. I thought his relationship to Anne, who is this girlfriend played by Michelle Williams, was great, and she was quite a fun character in her own right. And she has a little kind of a spotlight moment as well. If you're familiar with the comics, you'll be happy with that one. Riz Ahmed, yeah, he's a little bit of a two-dimensional villain, but he does have a logical motivation, which I'm glad that he doesn't just he's not just a bad guy, he has a motivation. The movie's quite well paced. It's a good, there's lots of stuff going on. I've got to say the special effects for the most part were very good. I have an issue with one bit of it, which we'll come on to, but I thought the realisation of the Venom symbiote as a creature was really good. And he's kind of he's pretty much as comic accurate as you can get, minus the white kind of spider slime, which makes sense because obviously Spider-Man isn't in this one. What I didn't like about it, some of the dialogue, I mean, if you've seen from the trailer, obviously everyone knows the turd in the wind line. Yeah, some of the dialogue is a little silly. The story isn't going to break any kind of new ground here, so it's a relatively straightforward kind of plot without kind of too many kind of twists and turns. There is a few little nods to Marvel lore as a whole. There's actually, has anyone else picked up on the Man Wolf Easter egg? That was quite fun. I mean, who knows? I've got a feeling this movie is heading towards Maximum Carnage for a kind of a trilogy of movies. I've got a feeling number 3 is going to be Maximum Carnage. One of the issues that I had with the effects is at the end kind of fight scene, that to me was a little bit bland. And if you've ever seen the Transformers movies where it's just a kind of like a mess of metal where the kind of Transformers are fighting, it kind of reminded me of that. Just kind of like a, the symbiotes are fighting. It's just kind of like, looks like a gooey mess and you can't really see what's going on. I've got to say, yeah, I mean, it's kind of maybe a little bit of a throwback to the early days of kind of superhero movies. It's not got the kind of some of the nuances maybe that some of the modern films have, but I had a good time with it. It's kind of maybe a bit of a guilty pleasure, but I enjoyed it a lot. I absolutely loved Tom Hardy in this movie. I actually thought it was great, and I really liked Anne, and I thought it's so funny as well. This movie, it's kind of a little goofy, but I think it's kind of in on the joke, and there is some genuinely funny moments. I mean, the only other criticism I have is a very, very, it's not really a spoiler, but the Venom character, the symbiote kind of mind, so to speak, has a bit of a change of motivation, and that was a little weak. I needed a little bit more to that. That's all I'm going to say. But I enjoyed this movie. I mean, I actually enjoyed this movie more than, I know this is going to be really bad, more than Black Panther, a movie that I know is massively praised, but I only thought was okay. I didn't review it on the channel, and also Ant-Man and the Wasp. I prefer it better than those two, the two more recent movies from Marvel. I'll actually give this movie a 7 out of 10. Yeah, I don't think it's a classic, but I actually enjoyed the hell out of it. I thought it was a lot of fun, and Tom Hardy was so interesting in this role. So 7 out of 10, have you seen it? What did you think of it? Just leave me a comment, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. And just as a kind of a last little thing, when I went to their cinema, they gave me this cool little comic as a kind of little freebie. How about that then? So, 7 out of 10. I want to know what you guys think. Leave me a comment, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now. Oh, wigs. There's 2 end credit scenes. Wigs. So all I'm saying, bye for now.